Hi everyone, today we will explore how to convert an osmosis model from ClicSAND format to the new modeling user interface for osmosis, also known as MUIO format. The idea is basically to migrate our data of the model that, as you can see here, for those who obviously and need to be familiar with the ClickSAN version. This is the structure of the model. So here we have this Excel template where the sets or the model are defined here. Here obviously we have some introduction to what is the content of the file. Then we have the sets of the model, the parameters, and finally the to data file that is the organized version of this previous tab. So this is basically the structure of the mathematical model in the adequate adequate organization for being understood by any solver. So basically the idea is that for the models that you probably have already in this version, how we can migrate it to the new modeling interface that is this one. So we will see how to create a file for an input file from this version to the one that is accepted by the new interface. Okay, for doing that, the first step would be to go to the Zenodo repository that is shared in the description of this video. So there you just need to go here and you will need to download the different files that you can find here. So just a quick explanation here. Um, we will see in this video how to do this conversion using Google Colab. I will explain this later in more detail. But also, that is one possibility. The second option is basically for who is totally familiar with how Python works and also probably knows how to use Anaconda and Spider, for example, as one of the potential environments for working with Python. There is an alternative Python script that was developed using Spider that is also safe here. Okay, so we will work around this file that is basically a Jupyter notebook that we will deploy in Google Colab, but also there is a second option basically using a Python script that directly in one of the interfaces that maybe you can use. And also you have this configuration file that is required for running one of the blocks of the script that is related to the conversion using utool. Utool is basically data management converter from between different types of formats for osmosis. You are kindly invited to visit the repository in GitHub in case that you want to know even more about this. So okay, after downloading this, the recommendation would be basically please save this in one specific folder and also save here the Excel file um, that you want to convert, right? So this would be like the ClickSAND file that you are interested in converting. That is this the same that I'm showing you here. After doing that, so we have the folder with our files from the repository and also what is the file that you want to convert. Then the next step would be go to Google and open Google Colab. Okay, so one question maybe here is why we are using Google Colab instead of maybe using Python directly or working with the terminal also using Python or maybe other kind of way for doing this. It's basically because many of our members in the community of modeling, many times they don't have too many skills in programming and also working directly with the scripts and codes. So in order to facilitate the process for doing this conversion, we have developed this condensed code that is very easy to run because Google Colab is basically you don't need to install any additional software into your computer because everything is run online in the cloud. So for that reason, we consider that is a very good way of explaining how to do this, and also to avoid many complications for our members, and also because, as I mentioned, there is no need for any additional installations, etc. So what is the unique, let's say, kind of constraint with Google Colab is basically that once you are here in Google Colab, you will need a Google account for working with Google Colab, because this is arranged within the ecosystem of Google. So in case that you don't have a Gmail account, you will need to create one. So that is like the unique concern that we need to take into account at the moment of working with this. But once you have the Gmail account, basically to access to Google Colab will be very easy. So here you can go and click on Open Colab in Google Colab. Here you will have this initial window where you will need to select the notebook that you want to open, or maybe in case that you want to open a new one, you can click here. Sorry, because this interface is in Spanish, it's not totally in English, but I hope that it could be understandable for everyone. So after doing that, we will need to click here in upload. So once you click on this button, on this option here, the next one will be to click on explore. With explore, you need to go to the folder where you already have all the files, as I explained before. So here the unique option that is available is basically the one that is related to a Google Colab notebook. So is this one that is SDK to MUIO version 1 X, and this is the extension IPYNB. So here you can select it, and then the Google Colab will open automatically the file. This is created in different lines. You don't need to be worried about it because everything is kind of automatized. So the unique thing that you need to do here is just to run the code, but we will need to do maybe a couple of extra steps. First, you need to click here in this button on the right side bar. So this is like the files. Then once you do that, Google Colab will start the process of connecting, let's say, the account with an online server that will be like the cloud environment for working with the code. Okay, so once it says that everything was successful, then you will need to load a couple of files, right? So you need to click here, that is upload to the storage of the session. So once you do that, again, you need to go to your folder, and in that case, you will need to load two things. The first one is the configuration file that, as I mentioned, is the tool file used for the conversion. You can click here, then it will show you like kind of a warning, but basically it's like you need to take care because the files won't be saved after closing the session, so you will need to download it in case that you want to keep it. So you just need to accept, and then apart from the configuration file, you also need to select the file, the Excel file that you want to convert. So after that, you need to wait a little bit. Basically, they are the first step is just to upload the different files that you need. In this case, once again, it's just the configuration file and also the ClicSAND file that you are interested in converting. Okay, so that is the first part. Good. It can take a little bit, so it's important to be patient and hold on for this upload. Good, so it's ready. So we have our Excel file or ClicSAND file and then our configuration. After that, we need to go here to the execution environment, and then we will click on execute all. Okay, so it's like the first option, or also Control plus F9. But once you do that, the whole code will start to run. The first thing is that it will ask you for the name, or better, the direction where you have your Excel file. So in this case, we decided to save it in the same storage of the session. So in this case, we can just follow the example that is just like content slash the name of the file dot xlsm. So here the unique thing is that I will change the name of my file, that in this case is country bar down baseline. Okay, baseline here, sorry, baseline. Then once you do that, you need to click on enter, or and then it will start. You can see here the advancement of the process. So it is saying that it's in execution, and it is around 15 seconds now. Then automatically it will start a process of creating different files. So just a quick, in the meantime, just a quick review of what is the code doing. The pipeline, as you can see here, is a 3-step process. So basically we start with the Excel file that we loaded. Then we extract the test part that we saw before in the data to file tab in the Excel file is extracted and converted in a specific txt file. So this is the first part here that you can find here, is like the output. So it's basically to go from the Excel to a txt with just the information of the final tab in that Excel file, that is the data to file, right? So it's just that one. Then the second part is that text txt file is then clean, right? By removing all those default values, like all the zeros that are part of the default values in the model, in order to decrease or diminish the volume of the file. So just removing that data that is not important, because it's just basically the repetition of the different default values. So it's just like a cleaning of the file to make it even simple. It's simple. And then finally, so that is the second file here, that is a clean output. And then the final stage is to convert that input file in txt format to the format of MUIO, that is based in a CSV format. So basically it's just to convert txt to the CSV. And how do we do that? We do that using the tool library in Python. So it's basically that. So the final file is this one, that is the converted output. And notice that here the extension that is critical here, the extension of this file is just xlsx, right? That is basically the one for MUIO. So after doing that, we can just click here in the 3 points, and then we click on download. Okay, so that would be the final output of this program, right? So here we have like the equivalent version for uploading in MUIO, right? So it will go to my downloads. So it's basically here. If I go to that folder, so it's here, converted output 2. Then I will open MUIO, and then you need to upload this format into the interface. So for doing that, we click here in restore model, right here. Then sorry, you need to click, is the other one, import model. So here you need to click on import model. Then you can put a name. So I will put here like country case, right? Then the currency, my model is in USD, so I will change the currency here. Then you can include a model description. And then the other important part is that you need to click here and include data, because if you don't do that, what is going to happen is that the interface will migrate all the technologies, the commodities, all the information about the sets, but not the values of the different parameters. So for example, if you have a solar power plant and then a transmission system, what we are going, if we don't click on include data, we will have like the skeleton of the model with the solar power plant and the transmission, but for example, the capital cost of that of that solar power plant, or also the transmission system, that data about the capital cost won't be there, right? So it's like it removes all the data and just copy and paste the different technologies, commodities, and obviously the interrelationship, interlinkages between them, but not all the techno-economic data associated with the different parameters. So it's critical that you click here in include data. Then you need to load the template. So you need to click here, go to downloads, select it, so it has been successfully uploaded, and then finally you just need to start process. So just click on that, wait a little bit for the processing to occur, and then finally it says that it was successful. So you can go to home, and then you have the country case there. You can open it. Here you will have all your commodities, you will have all your technologies. Obviously that the descriptions are not copy, so you will need to outdate it in case that you need it. But also, for example, in case the time sets, you have all the GRs, and also you have the different time slices that you have there. And if we go, for example, and explore some of the parameters like the capital cost, notice that here is like it will be zero for all the technologies where it is zero. But for example, for technologies like here that we have refineries, if I'm not wrong, right, we have the corresponding capital cost for that technology, and so on and so on. If you explore even further, you will see that for all the technologies that are activated with capital cost, you will find the corresponding data. So basically, after that, you have your model in MUIO, and then you can start to modify or update everything that you need. That would be essentially the process. And also, if you want to explore the code in Python, is basically the same, but the unique thing is that you need to work in the corresponding environment with, in this case, for Spider. Or if you want to adapt it to other environment, you can also do it. Okay, that would be basically all. Thank you so much for your attention, and have a great day.